I was really worried about this game today because of all the senior um, celebration, senior moment, everything leading up to it. I felt like I had to really work hard to get their attention, you know. And I think it's because these kids love each other. You know, there's such a sincere passion for each other. I mean, in the last couple of days, I saw some tears flowing. I heard them say it's our last time doing this. Hey, fellas, we got a game. Slow down with the memories. You know, Susan will be over here eventually. Relive some memories in April or late March. But we came out with a lot of energy. But emotions drains energy, and you could tell that once we lost our motion, and then here comes Connecticut playing well. Their length bothered us there for a while. Adams is an elite player, and that's a kid that's going to play in another league eventually. Larry A's, he's their 6'9", he's 6'9" small forward. Well, my four-man's 6'5", so it's a tough matchup. Their length bothers us there, but then Galen got foul trouble. It was one of those games we just had to keep putting Band-Aids on everything. I just never felt like we got into the flow after the first 5 or 6 minutes, and I thought that was a good thing. I thought it was good to have this game today. Had we come in here and won by 30 and everybody slapped us on the back, so this is a little bit of a reality check, because this is what tournament basketball is about. Look how many free throws Rob missed. 84% free throw shooter. Look how many wide open threes Corey and Armani missed. You do that in the tournament, you go home, and then people ask you, what happened? Well, didn't you see it? The scoreboard keeps track of points. You got to put the biscuit in the basket. You make your free throws, all of a sudden. But that was a good lesson today. We didn't shoot the ball particularly well. I thought we passed it well, moved it good. We just didn't make any shots that we normally make. But I didn't think that was bad. I'm glad we won the game, and I think there was a lesson in there to be learned for us.
Coach, after the game, this is the first time you acknowledged that the team will be in the NCAA Tournament. What are your thoughts on that?
It's hard for me to even get that far. That was for the fans, by the way. Good reaction. Focus more on the conference tournament right now. When I was in the Pac-10 with Arizona and Stanford and UCLA, I was the head coach at Washington State, and Lute Olson and Mike Montgomery and Jim Herrick and those guys they wanted to do away with the Pac-10 tournament. They just wanted to go straight to the NCAA tournament because it felt like it was a nuisance. And nuisance is probably a bad word. It was a distraction, because conference tournament is for teams going to the NCAA tournament. That's not their deal, and I'm not going to say which one. One of them said, we're better off losing the first game so we can go rest and get ready for the next game, for the NCAA tournament rather. And there's probably some truth in that too, because you're not judged on what you do in the conference tournament if you're an NCAA tournament team. But I want our guys to enjoy this week of preparation. I want them to look forward to playing in our conference tournament. We have a great conference. We had a great conference season this year. For this team to finish second, where were we picked, Jeff?
Sixth.
Yeah, we were picked to finish sixth, finish second. Pretty cool. That's a great accomplishment. But in terms of the NCAA tournament, it's going to be a great experience. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Kelvin, when you got here, was this a realistic place to be today? I mean,
Yes.
Would you have envisioned it? Is this what you expected?
Yeah, I really did. I think because I've seen this story before. I've seen this movie. I remember Washington State. Oklahoma had gone to 2 consecutive NITs, and there's a lot of apathy there. The attendance wasn't very good. That program needed to be built up. And the two biggest things we fought here was facilities and apathy. That's it. That's all. Well, that can be fixed. That's not enough to make you want to run away. But everything came down to the administration. You know, I knew that I would sit here one day, and I knew that I would say this: we're doing this because our administration made a commitment. You know, basketball coaches win games, administrators win championships.
But an important juxtaposition of having this season and then having the excitement of the building next year too. I mean, the timing. This was fairly crucial, don't you think, for taking the time?
Timing couldn't be better. You know, you make a great point. Timing could not be better. Deep down in my soul, I knew how good Devin Davis was. I knew how good we would have been last year had he been healthy. You know, he missed 15 games, and the guys that played last year, we just had no depth. And still we finished third. You think about it, we finished third place in this league 2 consecutive years. This year we finished second. But last year we finished third, and then that's how close we were. I don't think people realize how close we were. And more importantly, we went 6-3 on the road 2 straight years. When you're winning on the road, you got a chance. You know, I knew how good Corey could be. I knew how good Fabian could be. I knew Corey Davis was a first-team junior college All-American. His team was ranked number 1 in the nation. I saw him play against the best JUCO players in the country and best player on the floor. So I knew we had Corey coming in, Devin coming in, Breon, Nura, Chris Harris. And what we did was build depth. Because if you notice Cincinnati and Wichita State, the thing that makes those teams so good up front is depth. You know, this is the first year we've had depth. You know, and that's recruiting. You know, our first year, I don't know how to describe the first year. 3 weeks into this thing, I almost called Daryl Morey, Kevin McHale, can I please come back? But everybody was transferring, and kids were walking up to me in the hallway. So I asked for my transfer in February. I want my transfer. And I said, son, what's your name? I don't even know who you are. Because I didn't know anybody. But they all wanted to transfer, and they wanted to transfer in February. So, but we got through that year, and then the next year we won 22 games. Next year won 21, and then but we got better and better. But this year I thought we would be better this year. I didn't know that we would be, where we are
24 and
today.
6 better.
Yeah, I didn't think we'd be 24 and 6. But I didn't think we wouldn't. I just didn't think.
Yeah, right.
I didn't think about it.
You bring up the Rockets. This is going to sound like kind of a weird thing, but there's a lot of basketball energy in Houston right now because of the way they're playing. And you guys are good. Is there any carryover at all just because these kids, they all want to play in the league and they obviously watch that?
I have so many connections over there. I was walking up to my office this morning and my phone rang and I looked and it was James Harden. James said, Coach Cal, I want to come to the game today. Eric, who I coached, in college, Eric called me Friday. They played Boston yesterday, right? So he calls me Friday, says, I want to come to the game. There's a relationship with those guys. And they're around our guys. James comes over here and plays in the summer. James will bring his friends, and he'll come and play our guys. It's a really, really bad officiated game when James is over here. That's why if you win, you stay on. Well, James wins. His team always wins. The reason why. But I think the relationship that I have with the Rockets and having Coach James and Eric and those guys coming over here, our guys feel comfortable with them. And they pull for them. Our guys are Rockets fans. They're not Celtics fans or Laker fans. Our guys are Rocket fans.
Sounds like the Rockets are Cougar fans.
Yeah, they are. They're good guys. Those are good guys.
So you mentioned the free throws he missed, but other than that, talk about Rob Gray's day and how special to be on.
The good players have another level to them. My father was my high school coach, and he used to talk about the elevator. Said a lot of those guys on the 3rd floor, that's as high as they can go. They can't get on the 4th floor, the 5th floor. Rob was on the 3rd or 4th floor today. Then all of a sudden he jumped up to about the 10th floor, and when he did that, the game changed for us. he looked like he was playing, reliving some memories in his mind, you know, or I didn't like his pace, didn't like his, you know, I know Rob so well after having been with him for 3 years. You know, one of the time I said, you know, I'm gonna put you in the middle pick and rolls, and we're gonna sprint our big to the rim, and then we're gonna space our shooters. But I want you to take this game over. You know, I told him that, and because one thing I read was the referees. They were gonna call that, and I remember getting on them. I said, if you're gonna call that there, you got to call it down here, because they were calling hand checking a lot today. It's hard to guard Rob unless you're hand checking. So once they started hand checking, then all of a sudden he started making his free throws. Then I felt good about the game. But Rob has another level, but the special ones do.
Kelvin, things don't change here because of situations. So my question is, going into this week, do you tell the guys anything in terms of not having to fight and claw your way to get into the tournament? Because it's most people think you're safe, you're alive. I mean, does anything change, or do you think it's a little bit better not to maybe carry that weight on their shoulders of having to do something in 4 days?
Yeah, you know, we'll meet as a staff in the morning, but you know what? I'm usually pretty good about picking out something to focus on. I won't bring any of that up. I don't know why I would. I mean, I don't live in that world. We don't live in that world, you know. I have no idea where we would be seated. No idea who we would play. No idea where they would send us. You know, I think I've been in 14 of these tournaments. You know, I've been a 1 seed, a 2 seed, a 13 seed. I remember being a 13 seed one year, and we beat Arizona, who was a 4 seed. And then next thing you know, we beat UNC Charlotte, who beat Lamar Odom's Rhode Island team. Next thing you know, we're in the Sweet 16, and we weren't even sure we were going to make the tournament. So it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to even bring it up. You know, we need to, I think I need to put in the zone defense. You know, I'm more interested in the zone defense than I am their thought process and any of that stuff. They don't care about that. I certainly don't.
Kelvin, Eric said afterwards, among the reasons he played for you, that you know how to win, you're a special coach, and he thinks you'll be a Hall of Fame coach. What does that mean to you, coming from one of your players and a guy who's developed into a pretty darn special player in his own right?
You know, I remember when Eric's father called me and said, I want you to coach my son. That was an honor, really was. That was an honor. And I remember looking at Eric's father's, Eric Gordon Sr. I said, no, I'm gonna coach him. He said, that's why I'm sending him to you. So, I think you treat, everybody gets treated the same with me. I knew Eric was gonna be one and done, but to me, he's no different in terms of coaching him than Wes Van Beck. Wes Van Beck deserves my heart and soul. You know, I'll give Wes everything I got, I'll give Eric everything I have. You know, everybody says, well, everybody he's not treated the same way. I treat everybody fair. You know, everybody gets treated fairly. And I think players respect that. You know, they don't want anybody to play favorites. I was hard on Eric now. I mean, I was tough on him, but he responded.
I can't remember the name of your first job, but I know Washington State, OU, Indiana. Where does this journey compare here at U of H to the other jobs that you've had, the things that you've had to do?
Well, when I took the Montana Tech job over, they had never had a winning season. That was there's hard jobs and bad jobs, and that was both. But they would never hired me if it was a good job. I was only 24 years old when I went there, and they don't hire guys that look like me, one in Montana or two that have no experience. I'm sure they looked at me and said, "What we got to lose?" But that was my most fun job of my life. My coaching career was Montana. I had the most fun there because I didn't know what I was doing, and they didn't care. You know, we went from 4-23 to 7-20, and they thought, "Coach, you did a great job." I said, "It's easy." And then the next year we messed up and went 22-9 and won the conference championship. Next year went 22-9, won it again. Next year did it again, It was kind of off and running. But this one reminds me of that one because of where it was when we got here. Not the history of it, just that year, April of 2014, when everybody transferred and everybody it's like rats running off the ship. You know, everybody was jumping ship on us, you know. And so, you know, I literally had to count. I said, how many do we have now? I said, well, anybody else transferring? I said, I think we're good. I said, well, how many do we have? They said 5. I said, who's coming in? We had a kid named J.C. Washington sign. I said, now, tell me about him. I know who he was. So I was 6. So we had to go out and sign, 6 or 7 guys. And when you start recruiting in May at this level, that's like Blue Light Special at Walmart starts at 10 in the morning and you show up at 6 in the evening. Ain't no more left on that table.
I got time for one more question if anybody's got it. I got any players.
Why'd you take the job?
I thought it could be special. I did. You know, when you've won before, it means you can win again. You know, but I challenged our administration. You know, they fired coaches every 4 years around here, and they didn't do a whole lot to help them. And I asked them why not. You know, don't hire a coach and think he's going to win because he's a good coach. You're going to win because there's a marriage between the administration and the coaching staff. You know, they had to make a commitment. We have a beautiful, beautiful Guy V. Lewis Development Center, and we're moving into a $60 million renovation of our Fertitta Center. We don't get Corey Davis and Devin Davis and Rob Grays and Chris Harris's and our best recruiting class yet's coming in. That's why next year's team's got a chance to be really good. But that's what you got to have. Go look at Cincinnati's facilities. Look at SMU's. Our university was way behind everybody in this league. And until they stepped up and said, this is important, then I wasn't going to come here. But they made a commitment, then it made it easy.
Thanks very much, everybody.